welcome to Gardening with the Gardeners, a podcast where we discuss our favorite plants, gardens, landscape design, and all things horticulture, with a touch of our crazy homestead lifestyle thrown in.
I'm one of your hosts, Matthew Boone Gardner, a horticulturalist, landscape designer, and fourth-generation owner-operator of Boone Gardner Landscape.
And I'm Hope Gardner, Matt's wife, a horticulturalist with our local county extension office, as well as a landscape designer with the family business. And together, we make up Gardening with the Gardeners.
Hello, hello, hello.
Okay.
Episode
14.
Spring, spring, spring.
Spring has sprung.
Can you hear it? Boing, boing, boing. Spring.
Yep. And I am so happy.
Spring has sprung big time. I mean,
Well, it has today.
Yeah.
We are still on that spring roller coaster.
It's kind of funny to be recording this at 6:40 at night, and we're like, it's nice and sunny outside.
And it's warm.
Yes. We should be out gardening. But
I will admit, today is the first day, literally today is the first day of the year that I have put shorts on because it's so hot.
Oh, yeah.
And I love it. And I'm not going to talk about the winter weather freeze warning that we have for tomorrow morning.
Well, we should talk about that.
I don't want to talk about it. I want it to be sunny.
But we can come back to that if we want to.
Okay, let's come back to that.
I'm going to make a note because I want to make sure to tell people about that and what not to worry about. So, farm update. I guess things are moving and shaking around here. The peacocks are going crazy. They are making more noise and racket, and I'm sure our neighbors are madder at us than ever before.
Then a wet hen?
Yeah, now that we have 10, 11 peacocks.
Yes. And the chickens have really kicked it into overgear.
Yeah, we have eggs coming out of our ears.
Oh, my good gracious.
And
we're getting duck eggs.
Oh, yeah. The ducks are...
And everybody's happy that it's warm.
Yes, and things are budding and just popping out of the ground. And one day you're like, you were out in the greenhouse doing something. I came outside and you're like, oh, look at the bleeding hearts coming up. I was like, oh, yes, yes. And, you know, it was pretty much the first thing. And then literally it got warm enough the next day that all of a sudden there was hostas coming up. And they were like, within no time, they're like 3 inches tall. And then the variegated Solomon seal was going crazy, popping up.
I went out to the woodland garden just a second ago to look at a couple of my plants, and absolutely everything is popping. Even my Hakanakloa, my Japanese
forest
grass, there's little grass blades
Good,
coming up.
I was worried about those new ones we put in last year.
Yeah, that's one of those that's kind of temperamental. Once it finds a good spot that it likes, it's pretty reliable, but you've got to really work on finding that right spot.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're just trying to keep, it's like...
and all the daffodils are blooming.
Drinking water from a fire hose.
It is right now. But I'll take it.
Oh, yeah. It's awesome. It's wonderful. So, and then another fun thing that happened last week, you got to do a cool thing for the Oldham County Chamber of Commerce. Women of Distinction.
Oldham County Women of Distinction.
Yeah. And it's an annual event they have. It's really nice and it honors women, local women, obviously, in Oldham County, in the business world and things like that.
Well, this is a luncheon, and it absolutely, every year I say it blows me away.
It gets bigger and bigger.
It's bigger and better and better. So they do these tablescapes, and people decorate the tables according to the theme. So a business can buy a table for like 8 people, whatever, and then they decorate the table, and these tablescapes are unbelievable. And we were really, really fortunate that the theme this year was bloom where you are planted. So, I mean, how absolutely perfect was that?
Yes.
And some of these tablescapes, just the amount of flowers and blooms, you would almost think that we were at one of the, like the Rose Bowl parade or whatever with the detail that they went into. And just, I can't quit talking about it because it's like, it's one table is like spectacular, and then the one next to you, you're like, oh my gosh, that's even like more awesome, and then the one over here is even better.
Okay,
so
enough about
the
tables. That's not why I brought this up, but
I know, but that's what I like to talk about.
Because of being bloom where you are,
bloom where you're planted,
bloom where you're planted. You were a past reward recipient. I know you don't like to talk about yourself, but.
So in 2015, yes,
you were blessed to be honored by them as the Tony Cotton Woman of Distinction. And then they had you come back and do a speech this year. But first, the cool thing was they honored Tavia Cathcart Brown this year. Tavia is a friend of ours, and
She's amazing.
She is a force of nature, and she deserved the recognition 100%. She
So
runs
she runs Creasy Mayhan
Nature
Nature Preserve.
Preserve.
And what she has done single-handedly, and I say single-handedly because she's the director, and I think in the beginning they only had like 3 staff and then a handful of volunteers. And what they have done out there
She had 20 employees
Creasy,
now or something. I think so. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but at Creasy Mayhan, and if anybody listen has not had the opportunity to go out and visit Creasy, it is definitely worth like a Saturday afternoon.
It's one of our Oldham County gyms, along with the Udell Gardens and things like that. It's really cool. Really cool.
But it's a nature preserve, so there's lots of fun trails to walk, and they've done a great job. I mean, Tavia has amazing programs out there, and they have a really neat kindergarten school or preschool.
Nature school.
They are outside every single day. They get these kids, and she was telling the story that one of the children out at the school literally watched an ant on a log for 10 minutes. And if you think about that age, and you think about what these kids...
Lack of attention span.
And for them to be so into nature that they literally just watch an ant crawling for 10 minutes.
Not YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, what they're doing is just spectacular, and Tavia just really deserved it. And so the theme of the program really kind of matched. What she
and then
is
you
in.
did a fun little presentation at the end where you built a bouquet while kind of doing an inspirational speech about being in bloom where you were planted and all of life's handling the ebbs and flows of adversity and good things and all the above, everything that comes at you as a woman. And so it was a fun event. It was cool that you were honored. It was great that Tavia was honored, and just a fun thing to be a part of. So.
It was fun. It was very fun.
So, and then, guess what? The other than that, we're just slammed.
Swamped.
Yeah. I'm so busy with our landscape business. This really is drinking water from a fire hose, but it's awesome. It's like, I was joking with you. I think this is the first week we've had in quite a while, first full week where the guys could work the whole time without, rain or something.
Well, so that the weather has kind of worked with you guys and
got a lot done this week. So,
and you know that spring is here when you actually, winter is really bad, the freezing, the rain, and all that. And so when we have a first full week, it's just like let's celebrate.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So the guys have done a really, really great job.
Crews are doing great. Got a great crew this year and knocking out our spring cleanups. Now we got to start doing our other jobs and things. And yeah, it's been great. So
last week we did talk about spring cleanups. And so, it really is that time of year. And this week we're going to talk about
Spring Ephemerals.
Spring Ephemerals, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that name kind of catches people sometimes when you talk about Spring Ephemerals because they don't really know that ephemerals word or associate that.
Real quick before I forget, because there was a couple little items I just wrote down just to make sure. One thing I wanted to come back to. We'll definitely come back to Spring Ephemerals, and it ties in perfectly with Creasy Mayhan. It's a great place to go see them right now.
Yes.
However, just a few bullet points. I wanted to make sure we talked about the freeze warning. So we have this lovely weather and we have these fluctuations. And I know we talked about this before. And I literally got this client, a client had this question for me today. It was like, what do I need to do with these new plantings you all just put in? I was like, don't do anything. It's just, they're fine. You don't need to cover them. You don't need to do anything. And you will see some people do this, but as we said before, we're more laissez-faire and we think now you may, like you said, a hosta may get some burnt foliage, but it'll come through.
It'll show the signs of freeze, yes.
Yeah.
Most things pop back up.
Most things will pop out. Most things will be fine. And as a general rule, we say just ride the wave, let nature do her thing, and everything will be fine. Don't freak out. Yes, it's going to get it's frustrating. Now, obviously, if you got, like we said this in the last episode, I think tropicals, or if you already bought your annuals at Costco or Home Depot, put them in the house or put them under cover. Yeah,
I think the thing that really hurts most during these early spring freezes is a lot of times we'll have these gorgeous magnolias in bloom. And a lot of times, the flower petals, they will definitely get burned. And that is sad because I love a beautiful magnolia. And unfortunately, yes, it happens anytime we have a late frost or freeze. And we're still in the beginning stages of spring. We've still got a couple months, where we're going to get some kind of roller coaster temperatures. And so just be patient. just know that typically the freezes are not going to kill. If you have a magnolia, it's not going to kill the magnolia, but you may lose the blooms this year.
Yeah,
But they'll be next year.
exactly.
Something to look forward to
Exactly.
already.
Yeah, don't sweat it. Don't worry about it. It's normal. It happens every year. And so, it's going to happen. And remember, patience is key in spring. Even though things are going crazy and firing off, there's still plenty of plants that are not even going to be anywhere close to breaking dormancy. Things like crepe myrtles,
They're the very last
oh,
one.
absolutely. Obviously, Nandina, we get calls every year that Nandina are dead. They're not. They look dead, and the way they leaf out and bud out is so different than other plants. It's kind of unusual, but they do not. They'll be fine. So just remember, it's still early, so a lot of things are showing they're not even
They're not
waking up.
ready.
Yeah.
Which can be good because we are on this roller coaster, so we're going to have a lot of cold temperatures still ahead of us. We don't want things coming out too early.
And
So,
like we said before in the last episode too, is a lot of the evergreens. You're seeing winter burn and things like that on your laurels and boxwoods. Some,
MS Southern Magnolia.
depending on the location on the property, I've seen some already flushing growth, and then the others like ours are still just sitting there waiting their time. So
So I was in Frankfurt and I had an opportunity to meet a coworker, and we went to Cove Springs Park down in Frankfurt, and the colors of the redbuds is just spectacular. I was amazed at how much further along.
yeah, because our red buds aren't doing anything yet.
Actually, driving home today, this afternoon, I saw a little bit of color showing.
Well, and our weeping red bud is starting to show a little bit. I noticed that.
So, there's pockets.
Yeah.
I guess Frankfurt was just, maybe 2 or 3 days ahead of us. Hopefully, with this warm weather today, it's really going to kind of kick them in. And then if we don't get too much freeze, it'll just slow them down a little bit. It's not bad. Usually our red buds do not get damaged, but hopefully by this weekend we're going to have some really pretty red bud color.
So this Cove Park, is that what you're calling it?
Yes.
I've never heard of it.
You know what? I guess I knew it was there, but I'd never been to it before.
Is it close to Wilson's?
Not really.
Okay.
It's kind of, if Wilson's is on one side of Frankfurt, this is kind of on the 3/4 of the way around the city on the other side. It was a great little park. I say park, it's not going to have like seesaws and swings and stuff. It's more of a nature preserve and hiking trails. I think they had like 12 to 15 different hiking trails. Amazing waterfalls right now because of all the rain that we've had. But it was a great, quick little just venture down there and had some great trails.
So a great place to see spring ephemerals.
A fantastic place to see spring ephemerals right now.
So the people do not know what a spring ephemeral is. Ephemeral is an adjective defined as lasting for a very short time. And the spring ephemerals are woodland wildflowers that develop early each spring. They bloom and then they produce seed. They're an invaluable part of the local ecosystem in our woodland areas.
They are.
And they provide food for your pollinators. Your little bees are some of the first guys they get to
Yes.
partake of.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons why they're so important. The amazing thing is that this is in the spring right now, these plants would be in full sun. So that's why they come up, they bloom, it's full sun. Then the leaves start coming out on the trees and then they go dormant. Mm-hmm. And so when the leaves come out, they are actually in a shady location.
Exactly.
So that's it's kind of hard because when you plant them, you have to plant them in full sun in the early spring before the leaves come out, but make sure that they're shaded
Shade environment
in the
after that.
summer.
Yeah.
Even
So,
though you're not gonna see them, you got to make sure that soil temperature doesn't get too hot.
So we're fortunate enough to have like a little, our little wooded area wrapped around our property, and it's mostly like a white oak stand of native trees and some cedars, and there's hackberry and other native redbuds, but we have luckily our own native ephemerals that pop up right around here on the farm. It's really fun to just because we didn't plant them, but God did, and it's
Mother Nature
wonderful.
did,
Yeah, and they're
And it is kind of a special little treat when you go out there and you get to see some trilliums or some other ephemerals that are blooming that you didn't plant or you didn't expect, and then they're gone.
Yep. So this is the time. Get out. If you don't have your own little woodland in your backyard, then go to places like that Cove Park or Creasy Mahan. parts of Udell. Obviously, the park system, in Louisville,
Yes.
the
The
Olmsted Park system's great for that.
And the 21st Century Parks has some great woodland
Oh
trails, I
yeah,
think, as well.
oh
So,
yeah.
yeah, just get out. On a day like today, there's no reason to be
I
inside
know.
unless you have to
I'll
work.
throw back to Tavia again, but I know she's just advertised that she's doing a wildflower walk, and I know Udell does them too. But they'll go out and show people a lot of these ephemerals and things that are popping out of the ground right now. They're a lot of fun. So we don't have the luxury of giving a video presentation, so we'll try not to bore you too much, but we wanted to cover kind of some of these awesome little guys, right?
Yes, and this is when I really do wish that we did have availability to show pictures.
Maybe we'll do video someday.
Oh, maybe. We'll see. We'll get there someday, maybe.
So a great place to start would be trilliums, wouldn't it?
I love trilliums. Yes.
I do too. And we always love seeing them on our property. So much fun to walk around and explore and see them popping out of the ground and doing
Well, the
their
neat
thing.
things is when you're walking around out kind of in the woodland area, when you come across the trilliums, it's like a little prize.
It is a little prize, a little treasure.
It is. And the neat thing is we have several trilliums in Kentucky.
Oh, yes.
I think there's like 3 that have red blooms, and there's a yellow and a white one. But the red trilliums.
We'll talk about some. You go ahead and talk about
Well, so there's the red trillium, and
Trillium erectum.
so like we said with the ephemerals, they're in the spring when they bloom, they may look like they're in full sun because the leaves haven't come out on the trees, but they all take that partial shade to full shade.
Yes, absolutely.
And so that straight red trillium is a really pretty red bloom. It's got like 3 red petals and then 3 smaller, kind of that, almost a greenish color petal. So that's how you kind of know that one between the other 2 that have red blooms on them also.
Blooms April to May.
It is April to May, and they can get, almost 24 inches tall.
Yeah, that's
So-
kind of unusual. But I mean, I guess yeah.
They're one of the taller ones of the trilliums.
And like all these, they're going to be in medium to moist shade. So
Yes.
that's key too. It's not going to be a dry shade. It's going to be
No,
nice.
they definitely need that moist. So
And they like that, that woodland floor, like we talked
very
about.
high organic matter.
The leaf mold and things like that. You're going to leave all that organic matter, that leaf mold, for them to grow through.
Yes.
Their Mother Nature's mulch.
So because that straight red trillium, like I said, it is the tallest. Then there's the other 2 reds that are going to be much shorter. And they're only going to get about 12 inches tall. And we've got the prairie trillium.
Yes, and I think we've had the prairie and the toadshade in our place, I believe.
I believe we have, yes. And those, they both have that burgundy red. The neat thing with those is that they only have the red petals and they almost stand upright. Whereas the straight red trillium is more of a star shape.
Yes. And the prairie trillium is Trillium recurvatum, and it has that awesome mottled leaf, which that's one of I always think, when I think of trilliums, I think of that mottled leaf. It's like camouflage.
Yes.
And that's exactly what it is camouflage. But it's Mother Nature's camouflage, and it's really a cool look on that leaf.
So it's kind of that, a dark green, light green, kind of not speckled like dots, but exactly like you said.
It's my
that
favorite
camouflage.
part of it, actually. I think it's really cool.
It is. Now, all of these trilliums are an essential nectar source for pollinators in the springs. And that's one of the reasons, they bloom so early, and it's one of the few things. And so our natives are really attracted to them, and thank goodness, because they do provide that nectar that is such an important early spring.
And that toadshade trillium, we're talking about Trillium sessile. I love that name, toadshade, because it's just exactly what the name describes. You can have little toads sitting under the leaves, just kind of chilling in the woodland forest area. So
Yes. And so this leaf is not as mottled as the prairie trillium. And that's, an easy way to determine, between the 2 of those.
And I guess we'll go ahead and you want to mention the yellow wake robin.
I love
trillium,
that one.
Trillium grandiflorum.
Yes. And it has a strong mottling on their leaves.
Yeah, it's more white.
And it's, it is the yellow. So it's got the name, yellow wake robin, and it has a definite the flower stands more
stands
upright.
up. Yep, absolutely.
And then, of course, we have to talk about the large white.
Oh, yes.
That large white trillium, and it's that it grows, in that same condition, high organic matter, in that shade, medium to moist. It can get, close to 18 inches tall. So it's not as tall as the first red one, but taller than the other ones that we just talked about. And This is one that you have to be really careful because deer do like to graze it. So if you are trying to plant more trilliums in your yard to naturalize, be careful because this one can get nibbled on by the deer.
And the large white is the Trillium grandiflorum, and the yellow wake robin trillium is Trillium luteum. How could I forget? Luteum is yellow, so yeah.
Well, there you go.
So another plant that I love that we have tons of them on our property, the mayapple, Podophyllum petitum. And just like the trillium, it's going to grow in the same environment we're talking about. But they produce. I almost equate them to like little umbrellas or parasols.
Definitely
The way the
so.
leaves come out, they're really a neat kind of big palmate leaf.
Well, and the leaf does stay throughout summer, usually in the
It
shade.
actually lasts.
This
Yeah.
is not one that's going to disappear.
Yeah.
The neat thing, though, is that it blooms underneath the leaf.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know what you're looking for, a lot of times you're going to miss
It's
that
hidden.
flower.
Yeah, it's hidden underneath the hand of the leaf, basically.
Yes, and these are going to bloom like April and May. So that's why you've really got to kind of get out there early to see them. But this is another pollinator plant, so it's like for the bees and the flies. This is one of those that's going to be a really great source early when they're just coming out of like kind of their dormancy, getting ready to get going.
And it really colonizes. It'll kind of really take
It'll
over
take
an
a whole
area.
hillside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
This other one that I saw today is the cut leaf toothwort.
Cardamine.
Yes, we've got quite a bit of that
We've
in the
got a
woodland.
lot of those. It's a pretty little thing.
It's a very dainty little flower.
Mm-hmm.
And just like the name says, the leaves are very cut leaf. So it's a very thin, serrated leaf.
Little white blooms with the yellow centers.
Uh-huh. They've got a little bit, just a barely little bit of pink to
Rose,
them.
yeah, blush on there.
And they're going to bloom in March to May. So they're going to stick around for just a little bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And one of our favorites, and we were always real excited to get our first one from the source. Well, not the source, but Jeffersonia.
Yes.
Twin leaf. It's a really cool plant. And then years ago, you and I got to go to Monticello, and we were very excited to get a twin leaf from Monticello.
Exactly.
Speaking of Jeffersonia, I just love this description from their website. This rare and desirable native woodland perennial was named to honor Thomas Jefferson in 1792 by the father of American botany, Benjamin Smith Barton. Jefferson grew the plant at Monticello in one of the oval flower beds in 1807. The attractive flowers last only a few days, often a period about the time of Jefferson's April 13th birthday.
Well, that's a nice birthday present.
Yeah. Twin leaf is well worth growing for its lush green foliage, which makes a beautiful ground cover for a shaded site. It's easy to grow, but very slow to propagate, and takes 5 to 8 years to bloom from seed. So
wow.
We talked about that in our seed episode. And that's even longer than those rhodia seeds. These are most of them are nursery propagated plants.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody wants to wait that long to see a bloom.
Yeah.
It's a great plant. I mean, don't get me wrong. If that was the only opportunity I had, I would take it. But yeah, I want instant gratification. And the reason it's called twin leaf is because it does, the right side and the left side of the leaf do look mirrored. So
it's a really unique little leaf.
It is. It's definitely, and you can tell. I mean, once you know what it looks like, I saw some at Cove Springs, and I was like, I know exactly what that is because it is.
It doesn't look like, it's very unique looking.
It is a great little plant. It's going to get about 18 inches tall, and it blooms March to May. And then something that's really interesting is, with a lot of these pollinators and these early spring plants, the neat thing is these seeds are dispersed by ants. So, the bees and the flies may come and pollinate the plant itself, but then the seeds have to be dispersed by ants. They carry them around to get them to new places.
It was formerly grouped in the genus Podophyllum. So it was actually, we just talked about the mayaples. That's Podophyllum, so it used to be part of that. But they've separated that. But it's protected by state laws as a threatened or endangered plant in Georgia, Iowa, New York, and New Jersey. Another interesting thing about Jeffersonia is it's a member of the family Berbedaceae, which is actually the barberry family.
You would definitely not look at this plant and think that it was related to
a
a
barberry. But when you look at the flowers and the parts and things like that. Yeah.
Another ephemeral that I really, really love is that Virginia bluebell. I think they're one of the, probably one of the best blue colors.
It's kind of the quintessential ephemeral that people think about.
I think so, yes.
People love them.
They do. They grow in that, all of these are going to be that part sun to shady spot. They're going to get about 24 inches tall. So they're going to be a little bit taller, and they're going to bloom in that March to May timeframe again. And this is another plant that is an essential nectar source for the pollinators.
Mertensia virginica, Udell Gardens, another shout out to them. They have a fantastic stand of their Virginia bluebells under those amazing beech trees that Theodore Klein planted years ago. It's the same stand that he's had. And it's a great example of a beautiful plant.
Another neat thing about this is the buds are kind of a pink color. And then as they open, they go from pink to this blue. So in a stand of them, you're going to get multiple shades. So it really does, the colors
It does, yeah.
that it offers is,
That's
really
a good.
unique.
That's a great point. It's very unique, and it's one of the few. Blue. An actual blue flower is one of the rarest. Like true blue is a very rare color in flowers. Shout out! I keep saying shout out, but shout out to Dr. Robert Geneve, one of my professors at University of Kentucky, who wrote the book of blue flowers, and he covers all these different things like Meconopsis, the Himalayan blue poppy, and then like bluebells. But these flowers actually they're not because a lot of them are actually purple. They call blue or whatever, but like more that true blue is hard to find.
It is very hard to find in that. Yes, so that's a great one. So another one, and I have to say, I think it may have already bloomed. Is it's bloodroot.
Oh yeah, bloodroot's real popular.
It is, and it's really a beautiful white flower with just kind of a little yellow center.
Sanguinaria canadensis.
Yes. And it has a really neat leaf. It's not exactly like twin leaf, but the leaf can be very symmetrical, very mirrored on each side.
And it's an interesting fact is because everybody, you look at it and you're like, why is it called bloodroot? Because it's, but it gets that name from the fact that there's a bright red sap that oozes from the roots when you cut them.
And it will turn your hands bright red.
It's funny because the flower is like white as parchment, but it has this blood, beet red.
Well, if you look at the stems of the leaf that go down towards the ground, they're actually going to be a red.
Yes.
It's kind of a burgundy. They're not, not real showy bright red, but you can see where, you can tell that the root would be bright red because those stems are red too.
Exactly.
So that's a neat little one. And like I said, I think it has probably already bloomed. It's an early bloomer. It's March to April.
Mm-hmm. Ones that bloom a little later and have really taken off in the nursery trade are the Jack in the Pulpits. I love the Jack in the Pulpits, Erasemas. Erasema trifolium is our local one, our native one, but it's a great, cool little plant. They have that kind of little pitcher type structure of the flower and then a little cup that comes over.
It does. It's a very, very unique flower. And I have to say, I was out looking for mine today, and I hope I didn't lose it. I did not see it coming up just yet. It's going to bloom later. It can bloom April to June, actually. And so this might be a little bit later coming up. It's got a bigger leaf and then that really unique tubular shaped.
Yeah, it almost looks
flower.
like a pitcher plant. It's not, obviously, but it always
does
reminds
look
me
like
of
one.
those. And like I said, they've kind of really taken off. And thanks to people like Tony Avent of Juniper Level Botanical Garden and Plant Delights catalog, Tony's got a great collection of Erasemas available to the trade and to the general public now. But they're a fun plant. There's lots of varieties out there.
Now, I will say, you have to be very careful. Do not try to eat this plant for any reason because it is poisonous to humans, but it is a great food source for even your reptiles, the woodland reptiles and birds, when it goes to the berries. Oh, here's another really neat ephemeral that I'm starting to see more availability, and it's that Eastern Shooting Star. And that flower is a really, really unique flower. If you think about what a shooting star would look like, so these flowers kind of hang down, and there's a little point to the bloom, but then the petals actually shoot back. Mm-hmm. So it looks like almost like a shooting star.
Like a dart.
A dart, yeah. And they're a really pretty, kind of a raspberry. The petals are kind of a raspberry pink color. And those are really, really neat. They can actually get up to 9 to 18 inches. They're going to bloom April and May. And again, a great source for our pollinators. So if you want a pollinator garden or want to plant some things that are going to help the pollinators early in the spring, this is another fantastic one. I was going to say there's another great ephemeral that is becoming more and more popular, I think, in the trade. And there's a ton of different varieties, and that's the snowdrops.
Oh, yes.
There's so many. When you look at them, they just look like a really cute little dainty white flower that kind of hangs down. But when you start looking at all the different varieties of snowdrops,
Oh, my gosh. There are a lot of them.
there are. And so you can really get kind of specific on, how much green is in the white of the flower. And so there's so many, there's people that actually collect them, but you can plant them. This is one that you can kind of plant in a mass. They're going to bloom March to May. So it's a little bit longer bloom period. That's why I think it's becoming more popular in just the general trade. Because there are so many people that do these, the collections, but they're not going to last forever. It's once it gets really warm, they kind of disappear also. But those giant snowdrops are fantastic little plants.
They really are fantastic. The giant snowdrop, Galanthus eloisii. The species is a namesake to the English botanist Henry John Ewells, and from 1846-1922. So you want to talk about Uvularia grandiflora, or large flower bellwort?
We certainly can.
Bellwort.
So that one, unlike the trilliums, that flower does kind of hang down. It is a yellow flower.
Oh, yellow pendulous. Yeah.
Yeah. They can get about 18 inches tall, and they're going to bloom that April to May. So, right about now, they're getting ready to start blooming. So you can go out in the woodland areas and see those.
All the same conditions.
Yes. They have more of a leaf that it doesn't stand upright. The leaf kind of hangs down just a little bit, but it almost reminds me of a bamboo leaf.
I could see that. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So it makes it a little bit easier to identify.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I can edit these pauses out. Don't
I
worry.
really wish that we had pictures on our presentation today, because these flowers are so pretty, and it really would help people. So I have to say, everybody listening, please go out in that woodland and look for these guys, because you can find these little treasures.
Exactly. Virginia's Spring Beauty, Claytonia virginica.
That is one of those flowers that I think people, you just kind of look over it.
Yeah, because there's
unfortunately.
anywhere from 3 inches to 12 inches, usually kind
are.
of smaller. And it's that little star-shaped leaf with the
Or star-shaped petals.
petal. Yeah, petal leaf.
And so I love the color purple. And what I love about this flower is it's a white flower, but it has purple veins in it. So it's like
Yeah.
purple striping.
Uh-huh.
And they're just really a sweet little bell-shaped or a star-shaped flower.
And this is another one we'll see that, your excellent source, nectar source for the pollinators, such as bees and things.
Yes.
We'll see them on there in the early spring.
And they're going to bloom in that March to May. So they should already be blooming.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, like I said, we just kind of overlook it. So another really pretty yellow flower that is blooming
Cute little guys.
It is. It blooms March to May, so it should be blooming right now. It's got beautiful mottling on its leaves, and that's the yellow trout lily.
It really encompasses all those elements we talked about. So it's just a diminutive, cute little plant. You really have to kind of, and the yellow makes it pop out.
But it's only 4 to 6 tall and wide.
Yeah, little bitty plant.
So yeah, this is another little bitty one that you kind of have to keep your eye out for.
So these little lily type shaped flowers, bright yellow, and then it has, like you said, that cool, the strappy foliage has that mottling and kind of that camouflage on it too. That's really quite striking. Erythronium americanum, yellow trout lily.
So I know that you like this next plant a lot.
Well, it's just so cool.
It's a very different type of bloom. It's not a bloom like a flower bloom that you would typically expect.
Little brown jug.
And that is just exactly what their blooms look like.
It's a cute name, and it's an Asarum aerifolia, or arrowleaf sometimes called. Little brown jug's more fun title than arrowleaf, but arrowleaf's cool too.
Oh, I like little brown jug.
We love Acerums. They're a great category of plants, and then this is
Maybe we should do a whole podcast on maceriums. They're such a neat little plant.
They really are unique.
So with the little brown jug, one of the neat things is that the bloom is actually almost at ground level. So it's below the leaf, and you really have to look
And it's amongst
hard.
the leaves, the leaf
Yes,
litter, and
the
it's
leaf
brown.
litter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've got these green leaves that kind of stand up. They have that acerum-shaped leaf. And then down below at the base of the plant is where you have these little,
Little pear shape or jug shape.
I was going to say bulblet type
Yeah, bulb. Yeah.
bloom. And they're brown, so they kind of match the mulch.
You have a little opening on them and very small. And the plant itself is only 1 inch to 18 inches tall. I mean, I guess they can get pretty good size with the leaves and stuff. But those
With the
little
leaves,
blooms,
yes.
yeah.
So the bloom is only like an inch off the ground, but then the stems are going to stick up more, towards that 18 inch. So you can see that there's a big height difference between where the bloom is and where the leaf is.
So little brown jug, Acerum aerifolium or arrowleaf.
Yay.
Obviously, we have to talk about lady slippers.
Oh my gosh.
Spectacular.
That's another one you could have almost a whole entire podcast on lady slippers. They're so phenomenal.
Yeah, they really are.
So,
The lady slipper orchids we're discussing.
yes. So obviously, they do have kind of that orchid-shaped bloom to them. So the pink lady slipper is obviously pink. That shape at the bottom.
And it has the orchid, kind of that classic orchid above it, and then this kind of collection area below.
And it's such a unique flower. I love it. I've gone, again, it's going to be that part shade to shade, that high organic, moist. They can get up to 18 inches. Now, that's going to be a stretch, and they're going to bloom April and May. So, again, this is, the first part of April. Keep your eyes out. These are going to start blooming here pretty soon.
Cypripedium acall, pink lady slipper.
Okay, and then what about the yellow lady slipper?
Cypripedium pubescens, and it's the same thing, but that cup or that little, like you described, bulb, it's not a bulb at all. We're just trying to describe the shape, is yellow. And it has
Yes.
those little red specks inside there. And it's really pretty. And then the kind of the parts of the flower above that.
They're twisted like somebody's mustache. Mm-hmm. So those are a really fun one. And then, of course, we have the Kentucky lady slipper.
Kentucky lady slipper is probably my favorite of all. I mean, they're all, that's hard to say though. They're all lovely.
They're also awesome.
Cypripedium kentuckiensis, and it's spectacular.
But it's a real pale yellow, but it's got that pink and almost little dots around
the little
the
specks.
top of the cup.
It's really pretty.
Yes, and horticulturally, we should know what the anatomy is. It's called, but that is just slipping my mind right now.
It
Sorry,
happens.
it does. But these, the Kentucky or the Kentucky lady slipper, it can get 32 inches tall, so it's going to be probably the tallest of all of them. The flowers themselves are like 3 inches long. So it's a bigger flower. And it's, again, April to May blooms. And it's not easy to find. It's almost rare. So if you can find it in the trade and more often.
Wildflower nurseries.
Yeah, more often than not, it's going to be like a native plant nursery.
Yep, native plants.
But if you can find them, yeah, definitely grab them and put them in that right plant, right place. So find a high organic, shady area with some moisture. And hopefully you can appreciate the lady slipper as well.
I guess that's a good note to end on. I mean, we could go, there's plenty we did not discuss, obviously, and there's plenty more, but
Well, they have books and books about ephemerals.
of course.
And so, yeah, if you want to learn more, I'm sure there's some great books on Kentucky ephemerals out there. But don't let them slip by. They're only here for a short time.
So we'll see you next time on Gardening with the Gardeners.
Thank you for listening to Gardening with the Gardeners. Please subscribe or follow to get new episode updates. And please help us get the word out about our new podcast by dropping a rating or review.
If you have any questions on landscape, gardening, or horticulture, please send them to gwtg@boonegardner.com. That's Gardening with the Gardeners. And don't forget Gardner with an I, Gardiner. Thank you for listening to Gardening with the Gardeners, and we'll see you next time.